The bustling streets of Chandni Chowk witness flocks and flocks of humans racing to the stairs of Jama Masjid. It is Ramadan, the holy month of fasting for Muslims, and the sunset is close. Soon it will be Maghrib, the time to break fast. Thus the khans brimming with delicious foods are lined on the majestic floor of the historic Jama Masjid. And yet the first thing that people reach out for to break their fast are dates. But why do Muslims do that? Dates hold their own share of respect and importance in Islam. The Quran mentions dates 23 times. It is a symbol of wealth and abundance and has a special place in Islamic history and culture. So much so that the Prophet's mosque, built at Medina in around AD 630, was made almost entirely of date palms. The trunks of the palms were used to make the columns and the beams, and the thatched roof was made of its leaves. The Prophet stated that 7 dates in the morning protected one from poison and witchcraft. This gives the date a sort of mystical property, almost supernatural. Ahmad Sirhindi, who was the most well-known Sufi in India in the 16th century, referred to the Prophet's words in his 162nd letter. Community and justice are at the core of the creation of the date palm. This is the same for human beings' creation. Prophet Muhammad said dates have abundant features because they have everything beneficial inside. When dates are eaten, they become part of a person and its benefits are transferred to that person. The date supremacy can also be found in the person who consumes it. Those who eat dates, as it was praised by the Prophet, benefit from it both earthly and spiritually. In the vast deserts of North Africa travels an oral tradition. Once upon a time, there lived an old lady named Twaja. She went on a pilgrimage to Medina. While she was there, she went to the courtyard of the house of Aisha, the Prophet's wife. She came across a date palm growing there. There, she found some date seeds thrown scattered on the ground. She was delighted to find the seeds, which were the dates eaten by the Prophet himself. She picked up the seeds and strung them together as prayer beads. When she returned to her hometown, she wanted to study the Holy Quran and the traditions of Islam. However, the learned men of the city mocked her decision, saying she was just a poor old woman. But she continued her prayers, with the date beads in her hand. After a few years, she died. When she was carried to the burial ground, the bead strings broke and the date seeds were scattered all around. Nobody bothered to pick them up, considering them unworthy of anything. But next year, the seeds sprouted, and in 7 years, the palm trees had the most delicious dates ever eaten in that region. People said that it was because they had first come from Al-Madina Al-Munawwara, the radiant city. So how did dates land in the Indian subcontinent? Dates arrived in India because of the ancient trade relations between Oman and India. According to the 10th century Arab traveler Abu al-Masudi, the sailors from Oman had a good knowledge of the sea travel and were experts at finding the paths through astronomy. The first mosque in India was actually built by an Arab, Malik bin Dinar, with the support of Cheraman Perumal, the Chera king at Kondankular in 629 AD in what is now Kerala. From the south coast of India to its northern plains, monuments sharing an Islamic heritage bedeck the subcontinent. Amongst the list of these, Jama Masjid, with its architectural grandeur, holds the top spot. The builder of this mosque, Shah Jahan, needs no introduction. The golden pages of history are filled with the names of Shah Jahan, Akbar, and Jahangir, Mughal rulers who extensively built forts, mosques, and gardens across northern India. But it is the women of the Mughal court who are left from the pages of history. And where else to find their brilliance than in the neighborhood of Jama Masjid, in the lanes of Shah Jahanabad, Purani Delhi. Meet Jahanara, the most powerful woman in the city, the second and the eldest surviving child of Emperor Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal. After her mother's death in 1631, she was made the Padshah Begum, described by the Venetian traveller Niccolo Manucci as discreet, generous, open-minded and charitable, and adored by all. The princess worked to strengthen the influence of Shahjahanabad by establishing trade relationships with Dutch merchants. She bought ships docked at Surat and invested in numerous karkhanas. Her wealth enabled her to patronize works of learning, particularly Sufi works such as commentaries on Maulana Rumi's Masnavi. Among her contributions to Delhi landscape, Jahanara commissioned Caravanserai, a charbagh called Begum Ka Bagh, and canals in the area of Shahjahanabad, which would eventually become the famous Chandni Chowk. Chandni Chowk continued to function as a major thoroughfare in Shahjahanabad even after Jahanara's death in 1681, and her father's legacy of Jama Masjid stood exalted in its neighborhood. Together, they have witnessed the passing and dissolution of empires, and yet continue to be the treasured remnants of history. Within the chaos of Chandni Chowk lives the spirit of Ramadan, of reflections, prayers, and hope. And at the heart of it is Jama Masjid, bringing people across communities together. Muslims across Delhi come here to break fasts. Rows of dastakhans are spread. Yet, what the hands first pick together are dates, a sunnah. In the most humble way, together is the tradition lived, in a site which holds magnificent history.